Stable diffusion is pretty much everywhere at the moment with text to image and image to video generation. Companies like Runway ML are definitely leading the pack with some of the stuff that they're doing, which is pretty incredible. Problem is with Runways, it's quite pricey. And if you are the kind of person that has a budget for your stuff, we're going to give you an alternative, and it's called Pika Labs. And Pika Labs can turn a couple of images like these into these. So if you like the look of this, we're going to get started right away. So the first thing that you're going to do is you need to set up a Discord account. Pika Labs currently runs through Discord, so make sure that you've done that. Once you've done that, you can head over to pika.art. All the links will be provided in the description below. Once you've gone to the homepage, you're going to join the beta program. And it's going to open up an invite to accept the invite on the Discord server. And then once you're in, this is exactly what you're going to see. The first place you're going to visit is Getting Started. This is going to help you understand and navigate the platform. It's really helpful. It'll give you a foundation of how to use the platform. If you look at the prompt tutorial, it'll also give you videos and all sorts of insights into how to manage the prompts, which is really, really helpful. This is also a community-based forum where people are figuring out as they go along and they share their insights. So really, really helpful. What we want to do is we want to generate some images. Now there's a public way to generate the images, and that's where you see these 10 creation platforms that we have here. There's also a private way that you can also access if you go into the tutorials. What I want to do though is I want to search for a couple of images that I can use. So I've gone over to Midjourney and I've looked for a couple of images. Now, as soon as I found one, I'm going to head back to Pika. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say / and it's going to give me the different functions that I can use here. Now there's quite a bit, and those of you that have used Midjourney before, you'll recognize some of the stuff here. But for the purpose of this tutorial, we're going to keep it pretty simple, and we're going to go ahead and create something. So let's start with the create function. Okay, so we're going to create, and we need a prompt. So I'm going to put in here samurai warrior drawing his sword. So I want to see what kind of image they can produce for me if I give them a prompt. So let's see exactly what it creates. Okay, samurai warrior drawing his sword. Okay, that's a little confusing. It looks like a bow. Pretty good to begin with. If I change the prompt a bit, so if I maybe just add a new prompt, I'm going to mix it up, see what it creates. Samurai warrior drawing his sword. I'm going to take that prompt out, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to maybe be more specific with this. Let's see what it creates. And in a moment it'll pop up. Not quite a samurai warrior, but I don't want you to be dismayed by this. There are many ways on Pika Labs where we can actually be a lot clearer and get much better results. And that's what this tutorial is really going to focus on now. I'm going to go to the animate function because I have a couple of the images that I want to play around with. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to upload the first image, which is the Rohan samurai walking through the village. Now I need to go and give it a prompt. Pika Labs requires you to be very specific. So be specific. Don't just say animate this picture. Say samurai walking through the village in my example. And when I do that, let's see what kind of result pops up. Okay, not bad. He's actually walking through the village. That's great stuff. You'll notice Pika Labs also has a 3-second video. They only do 3-second videos currently, which is not bad considering it's completely free. Now, as soon as I click on this image, I can go and I can edit my prompt. Now, this is where things get really interesting when it comes to Pika Labs, because we have a couple of, they call them arguments, where we can be more specific about everything that we are creating in each image. So the first function, or the first argument that we're going to discuss is the guidance scale. So that's going to be GS. And this basically means how closely do you want them to follow your prompt? The values are between 8 and 24. If I put 20, it's going to follow my prompt as closely as possible. And that didn't quite work out. He's kind of standing on the spot, but that's okay. Let's keep going though. Let's keep going. We're gonna go back into editing this prompt. So I'm going to keep the GS up, but what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to be a lot clearer with my prompt and see if that helps Pika Labs. And then I'm going to put a GS of 20 there because I want it to follow my prompt. The next argument that I want to explore is the negative argument, and that is anything that you don't want in this image. Now the way it works is you say dash neg, and then anything you put in quotation marks is going to be recognized as a negative and it won't be added to the image. So I'm going to put in a simple prompt around, I don't want it to have anything deformed, disfigured, or low resolution. And then let's see what it creates. So over here, just a moment. Okay, and it's looking pretty good. So if there's anything particular that you don't want in your image, you'll be able to use this prompt or this argument to make sure that it's not in your image or your video. That is the negative argument that we can add for greater clarity. The next one is the aspect ratio. So we can change the look and feel by changing the size ratio of the video. And we do that by saying dash AR, and then we can add in the ratios. Now, Pika Labs supports 16:9, 9:16, 1:1, and 4:5. By changing that, I should have changed the ratio. It won't look like it right over here on the interface, but as soon as I download it, I should be able to see something that is more in keeping with the ratio that I asked for. There's also a seeding option, but the most important one that I think is really critical for your journey into Pika Labs is this motion one. So your motion setting is set to 1, meaning that you're not going to get a lot of motion from your videos or your images. But if you change that to a 4, which is the maximum, it should change the amount of movement in the picture. So let's see what it creates here. And look at that, we've got people moving in the village now. We've got some real activity there. That was actually really cool. So now let's add in another image and see what we can create using the same kind of prompts. You're going to have to really just go and play around with this to see what you can come up with. But the forum is great. There's people putting in a whole lot of stuff around camera shots and angles that you can use. So it's really helpful and you're going to have a lot of fun with it, especially since it's free. And yes, you might have to wait a couple of seconds for your results, but you'll be able to really play around with it and gain so much proficiency with your videos. So we're going to put in a samurai nodding. I want to see if they can create this image of a samurai, but I want him to nod in this video. Okay, so great hair movement, a little bit of a nod maybe. Let's go back to our prompt and let's change that to make sure that we are being even more specific with exactly what we need here. So using the arguments that I've spoken about before, I'm going to go ahead and say, okay, cool, GS of 18 and an aspect ratio of 9:16 and a motion of 4. So let's see if this has any bearing. Let's see if this changes the result at all. Okay, movement, but not quite the movement that we're looking for. I'm going to head back into the prompt and let's see if we can edit it a bit more. I'm going to say, man nodding. Okay, so let's see if that has any effect, if it's far more helpful. There we go. He's nodding. Fantastic. Now I went on a bit of a I ran here and I wanted to see if I could get the samurai to actually cry. It didn't really work out as I'd planned. I think there's a lot more that I need to play around with, and I think it's also a developmental thing. Currently, the results you're getting from Pika Labs are good. In the months to come, it's going to really become incredible. So there you have it. A free text to video, image to video, Stable Diffusion software that is available for free. And as always, if you've liked this tutorial, remember to like and subscribe for more content just like this.